How is it going, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the Raidercast, your podcast for everything silver and black. In today's video, I am going to be discussing the very recent, posted today, Hondo Carpenter article about the fractured relationship between Carr, McDaniels, Ziegler, Mark Davis, the Raiders in general, the locker room especially. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. For more unfiltered Raiders content, I'm putting out videos all the time. I don't really have a set schedule. I just put out videos whenever I feel like there's a worthy video to put out for you guys. But to get into this, we got to start from the beginning. Hondo goes back to all the way to Gruden. Gruden was unsure of Carr at first, but their close relationship soon blossomed, especially after the first 2018 season, and Gruden was sold on Carr. Carr would get very criticized by Gruden, screamed at, yelled at, F-bombs, all that stuff. Carr took it, and a lot of the criticism happened behind closed doors. Very rarely was it in front of the team. However, the whole thing with Gruden happened. Carr lost a friend, felt like he was protected by Gruden from Mark Davis, who was becoming very wary of Carr's performances, all that good stuff. So, he hires McDaniels and Ziegler, who are huge fans of Carr to start with. So that whole thing about is sabotage and Carr was always the scapegoat. It was always going to happen. No. They created this the contract that's been very talked about alongside Carr. Carr agreed to it. He was very enthusiastic about it because he felt that he could prove that he was worth it and get that money. Because he wanted guaranteed money for this season, which makes sense because he didn't have any more guaranteed money left on his contract. So if he got hurt, all of his guaranteed money was gone. So he got guaranteed money, a 1 year, basically prove it deal, prove it to us that you can win. And he did not. So to get into that, the locker room was initially hurt by the decision to get rid of Rich and hire McDaniels instead. However, that eventually flips on its head and they become very sold to McDaniels, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. And McDaniels and Ziegler, like I said, were very much fans of Carr. All the way back in New England, they liked Carr, what they saw from afar. They liked his personality. They liked the way he plays. They even wanted him at one point when there was questioning, when Gruden was, not 100% sold on Carr yet. During those rumors of Carr being gone, they were interested. Obviously, that didn't happen, but they were finally able to work with a QB that they believed in. However, training camp starts, and McDaniels learns the exact type of QB Derek Carr is to work with. So if you know anything about New England sports, especially if you live in New England or if you listen to anything about the Patriots, Belichick, McDaniels, that whole thing, no one is free of criticism in that locker room, in that front office, in that building. Even Tom Brady was ripped to shreds in film study for poor play, poor decisions, poor throws, all that. The GOAT QB was responsible for poor play and called out for it in front of their entire team. Called out for poor play, poor throws, poor everything. So that carried over. That's one of the things that McDaniels kept. He expects everyone to have the same responsibility as everyone else. No matter who you are in the organization, you deserve the same amount of criticism and same amount of blame as Derek Carr, as Devontae Adams, as everyone. Coaches were called out. Everyone's called out in McDaniels' way of coaching. You're not free of it. Especially not free of it in front of the team. Carr was never criticized in front of the team with Gruden. He had, behind closed doors discussions and just getting ripped to shreds behind closed doors. Carr took it and played some of his best ball of his career with Gruden. But he did not enjoy being called out in front of the team, especially when he was called out a lot because he is the QB. He handles the ball the most. And he gets called out the most because of the fact that he has the ball more often than other players. But Carr did not see it as, this is me trying to help you get better. He took it very personally. But everyone else in the locker room enjoyed how consistent McDaniels was by calling out everybody. No one was void of criticism. That is very key. Consistency and building, they're building something forward. They're trying to build that culture of no one is free of criticism. In Gruden's way of coaching, Carr was free of public criticism. There were some players that weren't called out in front of the team, Carr being one of them. In McDaniels' way of doing it, everyone's called out equally. Sometimes more than others, because if you're, on the field more than someone else, you're going to get called out more because you have a more chance of messing up than someone else who's not on the field. So the locker room started buying into that consistency of everyone's held to the same standard as someone on the practice squad is held to the same standard as Devontae Adams. There's no in between. There's no ranking of, being void of criticism. So a very important quote that was from a teammate. This is a quote, and I quote, "I love Derek and wish he was still here, but I love the way Josh does it. Everyone on this team is held to one standard, and you are to perform at a championship level every play and every day. I liked Gruden, but he was never wrong. I also wanted Bisaccia, but certain people didn't get it, aka criticism in front of the team, like others." That is a direct quote from a teammate who was a fan of Bisaccia, who liked Gruden, and who likes Carr, but is very much sold on the idea of no one is void of criticism and that you should play championship-level football on every snap of every play of every game, and if you don't, you deserve to be criticized for it. That is the type of standard the Raiders have been missing, in my opinion, for the last 20 years. We have not had that type of responsibility or deserved criticism or high standard. That is just win, baby. That is the pride and poise. That is everything that Al Davis stood for. You play the best football every play. Strive for perfection on every play, and you will win a championship. And we won 3 under that mantra. And then we fell apart, and we lost that way. And now we have it back, in my opinion, with McDaniels. So I'm very much sold. After hearing that, I'm very much sold on McDaniels now. I'm all in. So McDaniels' philosophies obviously did not line up with Carr's. There was no moral victories. The Chiefs game that we lost by 1 point, people in the locker room were like, hey, we played the Chiefs pretty damn close. That was our best game all season. McDaniels thought the opposite. He thought we failed to beat a team that we could have beat. We made mistakes that should not have been made. And if we didn't make those mistakes, if we executed properly on every play, we would have beat the Chiefs, but we didn't. Victory also isn't enough. If you don't play a good game in victory, you are still criticized, which Carr did not like. He did not like the idea of, despite winning, to be criticized for poor play. He felt it was too negative all the time. According to Hondo, he says Carr saw it as constant negativity and didn't agree with it. So Carr took all the criticism to heart, was consumed by it, and let it get to his head. He was more focused on the criticism that he was getting from McDaniels than he was playing championship-level football. And eventually, Carr kind of lost the locker room at one point. After his speech against the Colts, that whole thing about, I'm thinking about the last 9 years, and I always love the silver and black, and all that stuff. Calling out the team for maybe not performing up to his level, but saying, I will always strive for playing super well, or whatever. I'm kind of maybe misquoting, but that's the gist of what he said. Carr meant what he said, but it wasn't taken well by the locker room. And after those comments, the locker room began to shift. No one ever questioned Carr's heart. No one ever questioned Carr's effort. But he had teammates who questioned his play, Ziegler and McDaniels among them, and they became very frustrated. And even though, as this is Hondo, even though Carr was battling injuries, his execution and decision-making were poor. So although he was injured, that's no excuse for his poor decisions and execution. But that doesn't mean Carr is incapable, but the emotion in the locker room after the loss to the Colts was fueled by players not caring for being called out by a QB that they felt was playing, this is, I quote, terrible. He quoted someone calling Carr's play terrible. Ziegler and McDaniels knew that Carr was loved. They also knew that Carr had not lost friends in the locker room, but his teammates on a business, on a, playing together level lost faith in him, is what it seems like. And one advantage to the new Raiders way is that everyone knows how the others are performing. Everyone knows how Derek Carr is performing. Everyone knows how Josh Jacobs is performing. Everyone knows how Isaiah Palomao is performing. Everyone knows how Alex Bars is performing. Derek's teammates knew that it was not all his fault, but they also knew he had not played well. That's why he was benched. Along with that contract and everything, he was benched for poor play, and he did not prove himself to this organization, this new front office, that he is the guy that could lead us to a championship, because he did not play championship level football every week. He did not strive. It seems, based on this reporting, based on his acceptance of criticism, he did not appreciate, despite winning, to be criticized. And that ended up somewhat losing the locker room and losing the faith of the front office in him. And that's what Hondo said. This is all quotes from teammates. This is all his reporting, which I trust very much. So take this as you will. But in my opinion, this is my opinion now, Carr absolutely lost the locker room. Carr absolutely played poorly. He did not step up. He did not take criticism. He couldn't get out of his own head to play good football. He lost, Gruden, who was probably the only person that believed in him in a long time. Mark Davis no longer believed in him. He had to prove himself to Ziegler and McDaniels and failed to do so, and that's why he's benched. And also, this also disproves all the scapegoat stuff. They tried with him to make it work. It just didn't. They liked him at first. They signed him that contract. But it didn't work. So he's gone. Now we have a new QB coming to town. Tom Brady, CJ Stroud, I don't know who it is, but we have a new QB coming to town. That'll be very interesting. So, if you want to hear all my thoughts about who the new QB is and all that stuff, I'll have more videos coming out. This offseason is going to be very interesting, so definitely like and subscribe. Definitely go read that article. Give love to Hondo on Twitter for all that awesome reporting, that great article that he came out with. It's worth the read. It's absolutely fantastic. I didn't even cover everything that he said, but I took all the main points and all the main important stuff and put it into this video. So I hope you guys liked it. If you did, like I said, leave a like, comment your thoughts about all of this, and subscribe for more unfiltered Raiders content. My name is JT. This has been the RaiderCast. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and peace out, Raider Nation.